All right, here we are in Ohana. We've got a Terran vs. Zerg lined up for us. And to start off our player introductions, in the bottom right-hand corner, he's red. He is
Paragons of Perfection, MaNiacJace.
That was pretty nifty. And his opponent, spotting at the top left, trying to take it home for that Zerg race. He's green. He is
Triple T PasT.
okay, and so we do have a bit of little bit of drastic strategy coming down here in the early game. Our Zerg player PasT has started with a hatch first, and he sent his scouting overlord right over. And by the way, I don't know if you see this, but we've got a proxy hatch right down there blocking that expansion for MaNiacJace. The proxy hatch, of course, able to get in there because MaNiacJace built his command center into the main wall and doesn't notice. He has not scouted it yet. He has... Oh, wait. Has he? Has he scouted it? Let me check. No, he doesn't know, right? He has no idea it's there. So, we've got a proxy hatch going down in the natural of MaNiacJace. He's now... Oh, is he going to send it? He's going to send his SCV down there, and he scouts it. So, what's the response? Are the alarm bells going off in our Terran player's head? Back at home for the Zerg player. PasT, he's got his spawning pool close to finishing. He's sending drones over. Those are likely going to become spine crawlers. We have a bunker. That's the response. A Marine already out and another one on the way for Para OP's MaNiacJace. The hatchery is close to finishing. I don't think PasT is going to finish it, depending on how much he's invested in at this point. We're going to see how much this is going to change MaNiacJace's build, and let's see if he starts running up the minerals due to maybe not expecting this, as... we do have PasT come in and plant 2 spine crawlers almost right away. That's what the second drone is going to do. I'm hoping it does. He has the bunker up and running, and it is going to start going to town in the hatchery. He's not producing any more units right now. He's just relying on that bunker to take care of the hatchery. The spine crawlers are, of course, halfway done. They're really close to finishing. And this is, for me, already super exciting. This is exactly the type of innovative play that I love. The scouting SCV is not really going to get to see a lot, besides the fact that he has 2 hatcheries and a spawning pool all the way up. He didn't get into the main, though. So that hatchery is at 900 hit points now. It's still steadily going down as PasT plants another spine crawler. Back at home, we do have a siege tank producing for MaNiacJace and a reactor on the barracks. He has taken both of his guests. He is still steadily producing SCVs, as those spine crawlers are now going to come down and plant right next to the bunker. Let's see if the SCVs are going to repair, or are they going to go... He accidentally rallies 2 SCVs into the bunker. He's only repairing with 1 SCV. He needs to take them both out. Now let's see if the spine crawlers are going to target the SCVs. One of them is, 1 SCV goes down, 1 spine crawler already close to dying. It is going to go down, but the other one might not be able to soak up enough damage. We have another spine crawler going down. The siege tank's going to siege on the high ground, and that one's going to be able to take care of these spine crawlers as the bunker is salvaged. He races his supply depot as this queen hits an inject on that hatchery. And right now, this is turning out to be some pure gamemanship from Triple T's PasT. He has taken 4 extractors back home, so he's definitely looking to follow this up. Ooh, a bit of a supply block. The Overlord gets sniped by those 2 Marines, and he does manage to rally back his spine crawlers and throw them a little away from the natural ramp, but MaNiacJace able to siege up his tank a little closer, and he might be able to kill those spine crawlers. Now that he's got another tank out, he might be able to push out here and go ahead and eliminate this. We're going to see if the investment is worth it from the Zerg player. This is definitely going to be putting behind MaNiacJace's economy, but let's see how much it turns off into an actual advantage late to mid to late game. Pardon me, I'm just still drinking my iced coffee. He does end up manage to take out that hatchery. He is still producing SCVs, and he's now got 3 barracks down, so he's going to transition into some bio play. He does put a reactor on one of those and a tech lab on the other one. Triple T's PasT is going to lose an Overlord as well as these two Spine Crawlers, and that Overlord is actually going to put him in a bit of a supply block again. That seems to be the story of the game, but if you look at the resources lost tab, the Zerg player has lost 1,100 resources and 10 units. So most of those units, I believe he lost 2 Overlords. This is not necessarily the best, but this creep is going to take some time to clear up. He is going to drop a scan down to get rid of the rest of these creep tumors. And we'll see where he goes from here. He hasn't built another command center. He puts down 2 engineering bays and 2 more barracks, so he's going to go production heavy. He scans right as the third goes down for Triple T's PasT there in the top right corner of the map. We have a full saturation for the Zerg player. He has put down a Baneling nest, so he's going to transition into at least Ling Bane for now. We have more tanks on the way. He's got 4 in the field and 1 a little bit supply blocked at the moment in time. So Marine tank seems to be the response from MaNiacJace, your red Terran player. The creep spread still has not cleared up at that second, so he hasn't been able to bring down his command center. Pardon me. He is now floating it over, and he's going to try and drop it down as soon as that creep spread dissipates a bit more. He just finishes up his next 2 barracks and drops a reactor down on one and a tech lab down on the other. Stim is after combat shields, so he's close to getting combat shields done. I think combat shields was a decision made to say, you know, I expect a little bit of early pressure, and it gives those Marines a lot more staying power in the field, especially in the early to mid game. PasT has put Overlords at the 2 third expansions of MaNiacJace and dropped creep, so it's going to be difficult to take those, and definitely a pain. We do have an engagement about to happen. We have MaNiacJace's army with 4 siege tanks and a bunch of Marines pushing this third. PasT's response is to morph 4 Banelings and try and break down that debris. 2 rally Lings over from that third instantly get shot. These Lings and the Banelings are to come in from behind. Let's see if the shots are good enough. There's a lot of Banelings here. They instantly get the shot on the tanks. This is not very good for our MaNiacJace. MaNiacJace's Marines are not really too greatly spread out. The siege tanks are all gone except for 1. Now there's no more Lings and Banelings. The siege tanks really were able to put out a lot of DPS. There's 1 more siege tank. There's 6 Marines on the field, and an SCV is actually attacking the hatchery as well. Mutas are popping out, and these Lings are coming and try and clean it up from the back. The tank is unsieged, and it's going to be taken out. This push did not end up doing what it needed to be done. The units from MaNiacJace were rallying across the field. They're going to get caught out by these speedlings. He has 1 bunker and a siege tank back home as he's pushing out a lot of Marines. He's not pushing out any Marauders. It's just Marine and tank. So this is some old school Wings of Liberty. Meanwhile, PasT, pardon me, the Zerg player is on 3 bases, and he's pushing out Mutas. He doesn't have really any upgrades going down in terms of his army upgrades, but we do have Stim on its way to finishing. It is about 50 seconds away from finishing. And now MaNiacJace is once again, he doesn't know that there are Overlords spreading creep at his expansions, so he's going to have to deal with that as the Mutas come in to the main base, and they're trying to snipe that tech lab off of the factory. He's wasting these Mutas a little bit. He does pull them back now finally as these Marine numbers get back and they get a little scary. So the game has steadied out a little bit. MaNiacJace was not able to make his push work, but PasT, I think, made a heavy investment in the proxy hatch that didn't really pay off in the way that he wanted to. This is turning into a bit of a game where it's where do you go from here? I think the Zerg player, PasT, has got a bit of an advantage. He's got a proxy hatch. He hasn't started putting down creep spread as much as you'd like to see, but just now it does, and he's transferring drones to his third. There's a scan from MaNiacJace, and he does see that the third is well saturated. So at this point in the game, 1-1 is just now kicking in for Zerg, and we do have creep spread actually coming out into the field a little bit at minute 14. So it is a little, a little funny that you see a game like this finally at minute 15. Of these 2 diamond players, we're getting things like creep spread and 1-1 upgrades out. But the game did take a really funny turn at the beginning with the proxy hatchery. And our Terran player is just going to continue producing Marines and siege tanks. A key here, he's just now getting out medevacs. He just completed the reactor on that starport, and he's producing 2 medevacs at a time. Those medevacs are going to give those Marines the staying power that they need to push, and in all honesty, he probably needed them earlier in the game. The muta numbers are getting up there, and the mutas are obviously going to be used to harass and snipe siege tanks when the engagements go down. He's going to try and get them around and flank and pick off siege tanks in the back. We do have a Marine. He's going to scout and see this army right out in front. That's all he sees for now. Of course, that's not the majority of PasT's forces. He does have a lot of supply and an army behind. We do have a push out from MaNiacJace as he goes and attempts to take a third. He's going to unsiege his tanks and move forward. He's got 4 siege tanks. He stems all of his Marines in order to push out and deal with this. There are no banelings with this army up front. There are lings and mutas. He might morph into a couple, but I think the Zerg player is just going to back off for now. He is rallying all of his army down to the front of that natural. He's not producing any more drones. All he's producing are lings. He does have an extra hatchery. Actually, Hive is just now started. Now the scan goes down. He sees the banelings morphing, and he sees where the rest of that army is. Let's see if he decides to push in. MaNiacJace does have 1-1 complete. He's got stim, 2 medevacs, and he's got his siege tanks just now spread out. He's gonna stim in. He's gonna get a decent split with these units. He might be able to snipe a couple of these banelings, go down to the siege tanks. One Marine sees all the banelings being morphed. Essentially, since he doesn't have any heavy-hitting units up front that are able to tank damage, he's gonna have to split these Marines exceedingly well, especially if you're gonna be going on to creep. He does tend to be taking his time. He looks a little patient. That's probably the right idea here. If he loses all of this army, I don't see him having the ability to go out and continue this game. He, of course, has not built a third CC. He's basically all in at this point. I don't see him surviving if he loses this engagement. He's trying to contain Zerg to 3 bases, but he's not expanding himself. So he's just going to keep pushing out units and attempt to lock him in here and take a lot of favorable, cost-effective trades and engagements here. Of course, Marines can be that if you take the right engagement. Lings are going to come around to the right. They're going to try and get the flank and the surround on these siege tanks. Banelings are now coming in. Lings and banelings from both sides. The mutas are going to be able to get in on these tanks. The banelings are killing everything. This army was absolutely demolished. Nothing doing for MaNiacJace. He picks up and lifts. That army got absolutely disintegrated. It did not do what it needed to do. This third CC he's building now is just, it's a little too late. Too little too late. As the lings and mutas stream across the map, they're going to see that third's there. It's really late. They're going to hopefully smell blood in the water as they do get the surround. 1 siege tank trying to provide support. He's got 2 more racks building. He did have to cancel the third. These mutas are going to go toe-to-toe with these Marines. Probably not the best idea. He needs to consolidate, regroup. He took a really good engagement and got rid of essentially all of the gas units, the heavy gas investment from the Terran. He got rid of the siege tanks. He got rid of a couple of medevacs. So PasT, good decision in my opinion. Going to go home and take a 4th. Your move, he says to the Terran player as he was able to cancel that third. MaNiacJace is making his 3rd command center now, finally, at minute 19. That's how crazy this game has been. He's still just producing Marines. He's still just producing siege tanks. He doesn't really have much else going for him in regards of upgrades. He's still on 1-1 and nothing going for his vehicles. We do have Marines spread out across the map, so at least his map vision is a little better. Ooh, he does have 1 medevac here to the bottom right corner of near one of the 3rd expansions. It's getting sniped by 1 muta. This 1 muta is going to take out a medevac. It's a hero. Is it going to do it? He's going to sacrifice his life, but he's going to snipe the medevac. That's a cost-efficient trade if I've ever seen one. We do have 2 medevacs on the left side of the map attempting to drop, but they run into a pack of mutas, and the lings have already seen them. Why is this happening? Well, PasT has got his overlords in key positions spread all around the map. If you look to the right and left, he's got overlords essentially covering all where he needs to go, and the mutas are going to go in and they're going to snipe both of the medevacs. He's going to get all of those units that were in the dropships as well, and another cost-efficient trade for PasT, the Season 2 semi-finalist from last season, or quarterfinalist, one of them. I'll make sure to get that right. He's a semi-finalist, so he is once again proving his worth in this game, getting a dominant number of mutas and a dominant number of Zerglings on the map. His creep spread has been a little lacking, but I think he's compensating with army control and just the general sizes of his army. Now he moves his Ling Bane Muta mass down to the bottom left-hand corner. I think he's going for an attack to end the game. I think he smells blood in the water. He's morphing about he's morphing about 18 banelings up here. Now it's 24 banelings up here. He's going to roll them down. Oh, and a lift from this medevac. Is it going to spot it? No, the banelings are going to come down. Siege tanks, are they able to get the connections that they need? The banelings get a couple of Marines, and they almost kill the siege tank. So now the lings are going to come in. Siege tank does get a couple shots off, but the lings, the banelings, the mutas come in, and this is a Zerg swarm if I've ever seen one. Gonna take game one, probably GG from this point out. I don't know what the Terran player can do. He's gonna have to split for days. This is a massive mutas. He's able to split the mutas left and right. He doesn't care. He doesn't give two shits. YOLO swag 420. I'm sniping turrets. I'm sniping your planetary. I've got lings in your third. Your economy's in the toilet. You don't have any more minerals in your main. Are you gonna keep producing Marines? We do have a counter drop going up here from MaNiacJace, likely the only thing he could do in this situation, trying to snipe the fourth, but the mutas are on their way back. They got the damage done that they needed to do. He is going to lose this fourth at the cost of essentially losing the game, because he's going to try and boost this medevac into the main and do some more damage, but there isn't really any damage to be done when you've got this many mutas. It's more than 24. That's a lot of mutas. How many mutas do we have on the field right now? We've got 32 mutas on the field. So this is really bad position. This is never the position you want to be in. By the way, PasT's fourth went down, but he already had a fifth. Now his fourth. We do have a dropship coming along the side of the right here to try and do something, but it's only Marines. And, well, Zerg Swarm does what Zerg Swarm does, takes out the Marines and the medevac. This is just not cost-effective trades coming from out of our Terran player, MaNiacJace. This is not looking too good for him. Triple T PasT in steady and in a very promising, commanding position of the game. Probably looking to end it fairly soon, but he's not taking any unnecessary risks. The mutas are going to come in and snipe the turrets, and he's going to pull the Terran army back into the main, as he's probably going to send the lings to counterattack. Send the lings. PasT, you can do it. There's nothing there in the low ground of the natural except for a siege tank and a bunker. Pull that Terran army left and right, and then go. He's not going to do that. He's going to consolidate. He's going to make some banelings. He's going to make sure that this next fight ends the game. The bunker is going to go down if he wants it to. The Marines are going to shoo away the mutas, but it's all too little too late. This is just prolonging the inevitable doom that is about to befall our Terran player. This is like watching a horror movie in slow motion. I'm a Terran player, and I know the feels that are going through the heart of our red Terran right now. What do? You know, how do you respond to this? Do you get an upgrade advantage? Do you get this or that? No, I guess you just keep making Marines and try and split and do something, but none of it's really going to work. Triple PasT is got a commanding position early on with some funky proxy hatch play into a fantastic Ling Bang muta control where he was able to take some really good engagements. We do have a drop going down at the fourth expansion of Triple T, and if there's any way back into the game, I suppose this is the way. He does not get the snipe, but he did kill enough drones to justify it. He's going to pick up 5 Marines and get the hell out of Dodge. Going to try and snipe a couple more drones at the third, but this is likely going to get cleaned up just as soon as it starts. The Marines aren't dropping fast enough, and they're getting swallowed up by these little creatures called speedlings that, well, with 2-2, tend to kill Marines pretty quickly if they're coming at you one at a time. What this is doing for MaNiacJace is it's giving him time to resaturate his third. Maybe that'll give him a leg back into the game. In my non-professional opinion, that's not going to happen at all, but he is pushing out here with a sizable force of Marines, supported by 1 siege tank and 1 medevac. By the way, he's got some kamikaze SCVs in the front. A lot of banelings morphing to the left. The armies are just going to they're just going to pass right by each other. All the banes are going to go into the third. Does he see it? The SCVs are coming back there. He's going to be too little too late. The lings and the mutas get in the third. They're going to kill all the SCVs. They're going to snipe the orbital. Those banelings are going to be able to detonate on whatever the hell they want unless they get caught out here. That's such a nifty trick, the Overlord dropping creep there. The orbital does go down. The Overlord dropping creep just in case he wants to speed up. This army, though, is coming forward for MaNiacJace. He's going to take care of a queen. The one SCV's carrying a big jug of best bean gas like it's going to, I don't know, he's going to throw it at a queen or something like that. The Marines are going to try and split for days, but on creep, the banelings are too quick. They bust through everything. All the Marines die. GG called for MaNiacJace. Game 1 going to Triple T's. We've got the audio issues sorted, and we're all in the clear in that regard. We do have Game 2. It is Group C's Round of 32 Season 3 Challenger League. It is a TVZ. Game 1, pretty handily, I think, going to our Zerg player. And now trying to get back and type the series, spawning in the top left of Akalon Waste. He's fighting for his life. He's blue. He is
Paragons of Perfection, MaNiacJace.
And his opponent in the bottom right, took game one really handedly. Was able to come up with some innovative proxy hatch play into Ling Bane Muta and swarm impressively for a really overwhelming victory. He is green. He's Zerg. He is
Triple T PasT.
So this game has started off a little interesting already. We had a SCV scout. There was an early CC into 3 hatcheries from Triple T's PasT before spawning pool. And now he's, of course, laying down his spawning pool. And the SCV is going to have a really decent scout of all of this. There is a bunker going down and the natural ramp of MaNiacJace's as his orbital command gets started on his second CC. Meanwhile, Overlord is going to get spotted and probably be safe from just 1 Marine. We haven't seen MaNiacJace open with Reapers, so he's using SCVs to scout, and he doesn't really mind about that Reaper Hellion aggression. He wants to go right into his army composition, which last game was Marine Tank. And we'll see if we see a change up, or maybe he does incorporate Hellions into this, the longer map, as he floats his barracks over and he's going to add a reactor. So he's going to either produce double Marine, or he's going to switch that factory onto it. And having built the factory right next to the barracks, my opinion, my prediction will be that he'll go ahead and start producing Hellions. He might lose this scouting overlord here, the Zerg player. Nope, just getting away from that Marine. That would have been a little unfortunate, but not game ending, of course, and not as bad as losing your earliest overlord and putting you in a supply block as his 3rd hatchery has finished up. He does have a queen, of course, at the natural expansion, and his main gonna start hitting his injects, gonna start getting heavy drone count. He's looking to out macro his Terran opponent to pieces. Meanwhile, MaNiacJace going with what I would call a typical response to seeing 3 hatcheries. He's gonna go ahead and build a starport. He's throwing down a tech lab. I bet you we see Banshees after he switches that starport onto the tech lab. He is producing 2 Hellions at a time. Of course, with no Reaper, the push is going to be a little weaker, but he's probably just going to poke and prod, deny creep, and then send in the Banshee. This Overlord of PasT that he was able to keep alive from the early part of the game, as we have a little bit of lag hitting us, is going to get a scout and see that indeed there are Banshees on the way. There's a tech lab going down on that lifted barracks, but this Overlord is so key because if you check the timing, he sent his Overlord in at around 6:25 to 6:30, and that is the key timing. He's going to lose it probably if those Marines turn around and do their job, but he sees the important thing. And if you notice at the tech lab, he sees it firing up and researching. If you didn't know, the difference between a researching tech lab and a non-researching tech lab is really visible for you right now. The barracks one is not researching. The starport one is. There's that Vespine kind of glow to it going on. And so if you didn't know, there's your little StarCraft lesson for the day. When you scout, that's how you tell. These Hellions, we have 4 in the field now. PP called from our blue Terran player, MaNiacJace.
Game resumed.
Audio issues actually sorted out for you now. Where is the game taking us? We have the Banshee that was scouted by our Zerg player PasT, and MaNiacJace tried to capitalize on the 3 hatchery opening right at the start with that Banshee. He is going to push out the Banshee now with a Banshee, 4 Hellions, a couple Marines, actually 6 Hellions now, and an SCV. The Hellions are going to go in and find out that there are roaches. They see the roaches. 1 Banshee, obviously, roaches can't shoot up, but it's not going to really be able to provide this army the firepower to get through this many roaches. If you look at the positioning from Triple T's PasT, he's got queens on the low ground protecting his 3rd, as well as the roaches, and then he's got 4 queens at the natural ramp, rather. This is going to be held really well, and he should not be pushing in here, MaNiacJace. Of course, we can see what's going on, and he can't, but I think he feels it, and he's going to go ahead and pull back. That Banshee can go into the main and start doing damage, but that's a lot of roaches, and they're pushing out rather rapidly. Now, this is 6 queens here to deal with one Banshee, rather, but no detection. There are now 2 Banshees out, so he's going to have to pull back his queens and roaches. Let us know if you're hearing the audio issue. Oh man, Face the Suns. They say they can live with it. I might have to change out an audio wire or 2. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and keep going with the game until told otherwise. MaNiacJace is building more supply depots back at home. We do have a bit of lag going on. So there's the pods coming from Saber. Is it that bad right now? Oh, we do have, actually, MaNiacJace is lagging out, so this is gone from bad to worse for MaNiacJace. His Banshee exploits did not necessarily do what they needed to do, and now he's lagging out. This is unfortunate, but can't really do much else about it. Saber, it's pause the game until we have the lag issue sorted out. So, in the meantime, MaNiacJace is going to go ahead and build a 3rd CC in his main as a response to this. And essentially, you've got to look at the match at this point as Triple T's PasT has essentially... I keep saying Triple T's PasT, but he's just PasT. PasT has essentially won the build order game up to this point. Maniac was not able to capitalize on any sort of risk in the 3 hatchery build coming from PasT. And so now Maniac is behind, and he has to make a play. And in order to make the play, he's gone ahead and risked building a 3rd command center in his main, and then he's going to obviously lift it out into the 3rd expansion. Now, this is obviously a risk because he's investing minerals not in an army composition to maybe hold off the roaches, but he's investing the minerals in the command center, and he's going to try and go ahead and take his 3rd. We do have an update a little bit on our player situation. We're waiting on MaNiacJace to let us know that we've got the go-ahead, and it doesn't look like it's working out too well. No lag or riot, of course. Oof, this is rough. This is so frustrating, but we're going to try and fix the issue here shortly for you guys so that we can get some StarCraft action as soon as we can. We still have some lag issues, but to go ahead and address the game at hand that we've got going on, once it does actually get back up and running, one thing I want to point out is that there are a lot of forward overlords from PasT. So he's just producing roaches, and he's putting his overlords in positions maybe to scout, or maybe he's going to research, that little Zerg ability where you can put units in overlords and float them over stuff and then drop those units. And I think that's what I'm just going to go ahead and predict right now as your resident caster that that's what he's going for. We'll see. We've still got some internet connection issues with MaNiacJace. He has no idea what's going on. It's just been one thing after another today. Man, we're trying to sort it out there for you so we can get some StarCraft action in. One thing that PasT has been able to get on much earlier this game is his creep spread. It looks very minimal right now, but obviously he didn't have the queens out in riot, in the early part, laying down creep in the early part of the match. But the queens and creep are going to start exponentially spreading like nobody's business here once the game starts leaking into the mid-game part of the match. We do have the go-ahead from our players, so we've got a countdown from Saber, and we're actually going to go live, and hopefully we stay that way. Our audio is going to stick with us as well. We do have 2 barracks and a command center going down for MaNiacJace. This is his response. He's going to go ahead and play some more standard play. He has these 2 Banshees down here hovering over one of the expansions that PasT can take eventually, and we're going to see if he uses those to eventually go into the base and do some drone damage. Now, this is the play that we were looking for. The Nidus network goes down in the main. I saw him build it. He does have the forward overlords. I believe it was TLO who made this play at Home Story Cup, but he did a Neuralist, or not Neuralist, he did a Nidus network along with overlord drops. He's still not researching that ability just yet, but I predict that's going to happen. If not, he's just going to throw down a Nidus network and then go to town in the base. If you look at MaNiacJace, he's got this area here in the top right of his main, this little corner here that he does not have vision of, and that is unfortunate because that's where I, if I'm PasT, am dropping a Nidus worm. Unfortunately, PasT at this moment doesn't have any overlords in position, but that's not too big of an issue. He does have the Nidus worm going down at the front, so maybe since he doesn't have the creep spread as vicious as he wants to, his idea is I'm going to use that to reinforce with, so that my roaches can get there instantaneously as opposed to making them run across the huge distance of the map. He does put out so many queens, and he's going to drop a creep tumor instantly. 2 creep tumors go down, 3 creep tumors go down. They're going to be there to reinforce this roach army. This is a fantastic play, and honestly, he's going to use them for transfuses. Queens themselves put out a lot of DPS in large groups. There's nothing really here except for 1 bunker, a couple hellbats, 2 widow mines, some medevacs. The push is coming up. The push is strong. Roaches breaking into the Natural's main. They're going to town, dropping on acid on everything. The Hellbat's not putting out enough DPS. Those roaches are strong, taking units, and their transfuses are real. It's almost like a medevac support unit coming in for PasT. He's going to be able to push up this he's going to be able to push up this natural ramp and really do a lot of damage, but the Marines are real. The medevacs are healing as well as they can, and he might actually push it back a little bit. No, it's not looking like it. The roach reinforcements coming from that Nidus network are too real. It was a great play. He's going to have a little bit more Marauders on the field now, supported with medevacs. He's pulling SCVs. They're going down to the roaches. The roaches are going to be targeting SCVs. This might be the play that MaNiacJace needs to reverse it. The supply heavily in favor of PasT, 130 to 88. You've lost all the SCVs off your natural mining base. Queen's still going to town, but there's 5 of them left. They're not going to be able to kill this bio. No more roaches coming out of the Nidus network. They're actually filing across the map. They're just rallied across. The attack was held, but at what cost? There's 21 mining SCVs at the natural. He does throw down a bunch of mules. They do mine decently well, but he's also going to have to start producing SCVs like nobody's business. And with 3 CCs, he might be able to get his numbers up because if you look back at the macro of PasT still only on 3 bases. Not saying that he's behind by any means. Of course he's not. But you'd have expected him to maybe have taken a 4th in this engagement while all of this nonsense was going down, because he does have 1,000 minerals at his disposal to do so. He has yet to do that. Actually, as we see this guy going... That's pretty funny. Those Banshees are just chilling there at that expansion, and the drone that went to go put the hatchery down got sniped instantly. The roaches, mind you, are unupgraded. They have nothing going for them, as does the Terran army. So this is 0-0 versus 0-0. We do have 1-1 on the way for both players, and speed. Actually, we don't have 1-1 on the way for Zerg. We have speed and Baneling speed on the way. So he looks like he's going to be transitioning into some Roach, Ling, Bane sort of multi-mix of the 3. We do have this bio army scanning and taking out some creep tumors at the front, while these Banshees come in and start doing some work on this army. There's nothing really shooting up at him. 1 Banshee has 8 kills. Now the Overseers come in, and those Queens are able to basically 2-shot him. He did lose 1 Queen for his efforts, though. The Zerg player has really been able to deny any sort of movement on the map from the Bioforces, and Bioforces against Roaches, Banelings, and, well, the Lings don't really do that well in a 1-for-1 army, and I don't think MaNiacJace's economy has really been able to follow closely with PasT. PasT, has been on 3 bases for quite some time, and he actually has not fully saturated his 3rd. He does have spine crawlers going down at his 3rd just to protect it from any drop action that might be happening. Now MaNiacJace is going to drop back and take down the rocks to his 3rd, and he's finally at the minute 17 going to try and take a 3rd. Meanwhile, more Banelings coming in. The Triple T PasT Zerg player is going to push up here with Banelings, Roaches, and Lings. The bio's caught out. He's not really splitting that well at all. The Banelings going to get some detonations on Marauders. He's pulling Marines down to the low ground, but now the Roaches are trying to income Banelings from the back. So many Banelings taking up a couple of hits into Marauders, but they did their job. This army from PasT got absolutely decimated. It went really pretty wrong for the player as he worked up that natural ramp. The issue was he got surrounded. The Banelings did an okay job coming in from the back and try and hit that flank, but this kind of went in favor of MaNiacJace. Now he's got a foot in the door of the game because, as we know, Triple T's PasT is still only on 3 hatcheries. Why do I keep saying Triple T? The Queens are going to get shot here by these Bio Forces as they fall back on creep. Banelings being morphed, but this is the push that can win the game for MaNiacJace if he manages this army correctly. He's going to have to pull Marines back. Those Banelings might get canceled. He needs to pull the Marines behind the Banelings. The Banelings coming in and getting detonations on Marauders and Marines alike from the top, but this army is still here. It's still pestering. Banelings coming in. They're going to get some good hits. Are they? They mostly go and get into Marauders. There are still a couple Marauders down. Does PasT have anything else coming for us? It's GG called and tied it up. All right, welcome back to Game 3 on Overgrowth in this great TVZ series. We did get MaNiacJace's computer up and restarted and running again, so hopefully the connection issues that were rampant last game leave us and never come back. Speaking of which, spawning in the top right-hand corner, just tied up the series 1-1. He is blue. He is Terran. He's hoping he qualifies on to the round of 16, but he's not going to do it. He's got to win another series after this one. If he wins this match, he is
Paragons of Perfection, MaNiacJace.
And his opponent in the bottom left of Overgrowth. He's a green Zerg player, hailing from the mountains of California, among the redwoods and ferns. He's trying to make it 2-1, representing Triple T, your green Zerg player.
Triple T PasT.
Okay, we do have a Reaper that was actually made for the first time for MaNiacJace in this series. Typically, he opens up with Marines, but this time he's actually got 3 Reapers on the way. So he did make 2 barracks right into Reapers, and he's going to keep steadily on making Reapers. Triple T PasT's response to this is that he hasn't necessarily done much different. He's sending 2 Lings to the main to check out if a second has been taken, rather. The Reapers are going to come in, and they're going to put some early pressure on, so MaNiacJace trying to take the series. He might lose a Reaper. That's not a very big good idea. He goes ahead and loses 1 Reaper, but he's going to take out the Queen finally with these 2 Reapers. He does get a little bit of a surround by 1 Reaper with these drones here. They are going to stay alive, however. Meanwhile, 2 more Reapers on the field for him, so he's trying to Reaper rush his way into victory. He did lose 1 of these Reapers, but he does have 4 on the field now, and of course, with the regen, they can stay on the field for a long time. The unfortunate thing is that speed was researched fairly early in this match, and in 10 seconds, it's going to be done. So the unfortunate thing is those Reapers are probably going to stop being any sort of good when that happens. Speed is now finished. These 3 Reapers are going to get surrounded by these Lings, and they're probably all going to die, even though there are 4 of them on the field. He's going to have to micro their little hearts out. He can actually survive against this, but he's going to lose another Reaper. He needs to get up on some high ground somewhere and jump around and then jump between cliffs. He does manage to escape with 3 of them. He does have 4 remaining. He kept making them. Is he going to transition out of this, or is he just going to keep making Reapers? This is all in because he's still making Reapers. He needs to do economic damage now because if you make more Speedlings, they're just going to be able to overwhelm you, and Zerglings trade more efficiently than Reapers do. The response from PasT is actually to make more drones and more Zerglings, exactly what you expect. 3 Queens are on the way. Rather, he has 3 Queens on the field. Let me see how many. He's got 16 Lings on the way, so actually his response wasn't to make drones. He's just making defensive Lings. These Reapers are going to have to do a lot of damage, but that's so many Lings, and they're able to do basically whatever they want to versus Reapers if the Reapers do not have the high ground. Mass Reaper I don't know how I feel about this decision, but as opposed to being critical of it, I'm going to see if he can use his control to play his way out of it. He does have a command center, so now transitioning a little bit out of the all-in. The Reapers not really doing the damage they needed to do. Supply is in favor of PasT. These Lings are going to get a surround on these Reapers. He's going to get 2 of them away from the pack. Is he going to get them, or is he going to get the Reapers up the cliffs? He's going to lose. He's got to get those 2 Reapers with low health up. Oh, he's going to hop them up in this great play. He lifted them down to the floor and then back up the main, and they all live what seemed like a unfortunate, untimely death. However, the response from PasT is to make a bunch of Banelings down on the lower edge of this map here. He's just going to bust through and come the Speedlings, and that's not much you can do. But we do have a response. We do see eBay walling off, and let's see if these Banelings get the damage they need to do on these supply depots. The Reapers are not going to get the shots that they need. Of course, the Lings are going to come through and surround. More Speedlings coming in. This is looking really desperate for our Terran player. He's supply blocked. He did finish his command center, and the supply depots are going to finish now, but there's an empty gap in that wall, and more Speedlings flooding across the map. This is looking pretty bad for MaNiacJace because he's going to have to trade Reapers for Zerglings. He does manage to hold it enough now. He's got a massive Reapers. He's got 10 of them, so they can do well in choke points against Zerglings, but at what cost? Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm going to go ahead and retract a little bit. The only problem is that he's going to have difficulty taking his second. His expansion is going to be difficult because if we look at the production tab, he's got Stim just now started, but he's still just making Reapers. The only unit he can put out on the map right now are Reapers. And with the Baneling nest already down for Triple T, and of course, PasT making more Banelings, one detonation can swing this in favor of the Zerg player. No creep spread just yet. It's 10-minute mark, and that's not a strong point, it seems like, of PasT, but it really hasn't made that big of a difference for him thus far into the series. Still hasn't taken his second, is the blue Terran player. He's going to go ahead and add 2 more barracks, and he's throwing down a reactor on one of his other barracks, taking his barracks count up to 4. He's producing SCVs out of both command centers now for a little bit. And we'll see if he's going to actually be able to take the second at all, because we do have a bit of a force moving across the map for PasT. He's at 84 supply, which is pretty close to doubling MaNiacJace's. This is a big, massive Zerglings. I think PasT read the situation pretty well. He stopped droning up. Now he's got roaches on the way. 6 roaches about to pop. And if you get your roaches in key positions, well, Reapers can kite for days. But if he has Speedlings as well as Banelings, it's going to be really difficult for him to hold this off. And one thing that MaNiacJace is doing is he's trying to stay at home and get his tech up. He's getting his upgrades in. He's getting combat shields. Combat shields for what, though? He has a couple Marines on the map, 4 in total. But combat shields for 4 Marines, maybe not the best investment. He's not really reading this as well as he could have. Now these roaches are going to make their way across the map. He does scan the main, and he doesn't see the roach warren, but he does see he does have that one SCV there that might have seen the roaches incoming. Now the Lings are up. The supply depots are down. The Lings get in on the bunker. They're here in the main of MaNiacJace. They're going to pull out for a little bit. I don't know why they're pulling out. I suppose they're waiting for the roaches. The roaches are there. He's morphing more Banelings. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This is looking to be game 3 in favor of the green Zerg player. The second still hasn't been taken. He does know exactly what he's up against. This is a big wall, but the Banelings are going to come in and bust, and let's see if the Banelings can do the damage they need to do to get the roaches in. The bunker goes down, the supply depots go down. Now they're in a choke. There's a lot of Marines, but there's a lot more roaches than the Marines. But by the way, the Banelings might get some detonations that they need. Oh my goodness, the Zerg swarm is it's too real. Banelings getting detonations on Marines and Reapers, roaches in, sniping any of the reinforcements that MaNiacJace might use to help him salvage this game. It's not looking too good. Zerglings in on the production lines, and he's just able to rally as much as he wants across the map unimpeded. Definitely going to take game 3 and PasT storming his way to victory. It's all we're waiting on is MaNiacJace's GG, and there it is, called game 3 going to PasT. Triple T's PasT.